Shalom, Kol Halal, Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, Bahashim Kakadash, double honor to the elder apostles and elder bishops of Great Millstone, even the elders that came before them that taught us truth. Shalom and salutations to all the brothers of Christian word and truth and in sincerity, the hopeful elect tabernacle of David. The elder Yahshua, I'm back with the World War III daily update. Shalom and salutations to you all. This is I'm gonna play this Danny High Fong. I'm gonna play it from the top. And it's basically going to explain where things are right now. The only problem with it is it says that it's 8 hours ago. And you miss a day, you miss a lot. You got, half a day is a lot. Okay, so 8 hours is a lot. What happens in the midst of 8 hours? This is 3 hours ago. It says, Iran launches repeated attacks on U.S. military military installations, yeah? It doesn't sound like they're at a standstill. See, over here it's going to be like, oh, well, they're just waiting to attack. Looks like Iran is over there launching repeated attacks, okay? U.S. Navy flees Iran. Iran's destruction weapons, blah, 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 blah. That's Mearsheimer, it looks like. Teal. So, what's the U.S.? The end of the U.S. Navy. China, what? So, it's not looking good out there. All right? It's looking very shaky for Babylon in the theater of war. Every theater at this moment. Okay? Eastern Europe, for example, Russia's been whooping ass, is firmly in control of that area. So by proxy, Babylon's getting their ass whooped on all fronts. That's the point. Okay, right now, Iran is handing an ass whooping. Nobody's saying nothing about this. So let's see. Let's get this real quick. This is Sirach 5. Let's get Sirach 5 because you got to know, to the best of your ability, you need the news, right? So, I didn't see anything overwhelming. But today is Sunday. The point I'm making is today is Sunday. If they were going to launch an attack this weekend, they would have already done it. So, they're still waiting for whatever they're waiting for before they launch this attack. They're still waiting for it to arrive. Otherwise, they would have launched one. Because that's what they're doing. They're sitting there waiting. They're waiting to launch. They're waiting on logistics. Sirach 5 and 15, be not ignorant of anything in a great matter or small. So, with that, let's listen to a little bit of this and figure out what the hell is going on by the method of extrapolation. Take it.
Welcome back. As you can see, I'm joined by Brian Berletic of the New Atlas, longtime friend of the show. Brian, good to see you again.
Good to see you. Thank you for having me back on. It's been a while, but
and they're just basically gonna, discuss a big picture and strategy.
I'm very happy to be back.
Yes, happy to have you here, Brian. Let's get started right away with what's happening in Iran in the Iran war. There is a ceasefire talk or a diplomatic kabuki theater. The United States said that Iran was going to join them in Islamabad. Abbas Araghchi, the foreign minister of Iran, has said that Iran is simply conducting diplomatic talks across friendly countries, Pakistan and Russia, on the agenda, and denied that there was any plans for talks with the United States. Iran is also saying that they are very much aware the U.S. is preparing a surprise attack or another attack on Iran.
And this is very important what he says right here. He said they're very much aware that the attack is coming. You understand? They're aware that the attack is coming. They know the playbook by now.
They are very much aware the U.S. is preparing a surprise attack or another attack on Iran. and have been preparing accordingly in this ceasefire interim. The USS George W. Bush is now docked in the region after the Gerald Ford went out of commission. Brian, where are we at right now in this war, and do you see hostilities restarting, and what does that portend given everything that we've seen all the way up until this point?
One thing for sure is the U.S. is not going to negotiate any sort of peace with Iran. Everyone should be aware of that by now.
So anything dealing with peace and safety, right? They have to play the peace and safety game until this thing has been declared. Okay? So peace and safety is a means with which to reload, rearm, take a timeout, wave the white flag for a second, knowing that you're going straight back.
You touched on a very important point. The United States is continuously moving military assets into the region. So what needs to happen is people need to stop listening to what politicians are saying and look at what the United States is actually doing. And they need to ask themselves, why is the United States waging this war against Iran, this war of aggression, unprovoked against Iran in the first place? And what has it achieved while waging this war against Iran? The government is still in place. Iran's military is still functioning, no matter what President Donald Trump says, no matter how many times he repeats that he's annihilated everything in Iran. But what has the United States achieved? They have, number one, they have reduced the amount of energy total from the entire Middle East going out to the rest of the world, including and especially Asia and specifically China. And they are blockading Iran's ports, even though it's not a complete blockade. Again, no matter how many times President Trump says that it's completely under U.S. control, it is not. But it is at least partially blocking Iranian exports. Again, almost all of their energy goes to China. And so, I mean, I've been talking about this. I haven't been back on the show for a long time, but even when I was, I talked about how all of these wars are ultimately aimed at destroying multipolarism and specifically stopping the rise of China. And that is exactly why the U.S. is fighting this war against Iran, which is why they will never make peace with Iran. We know the United States cannot negotiate in good faith with anyone at all. There were high hopes that the U.S. would negotiate, say, with Russia over Ukraine, and we could see how that was, like, as you say, it is all theater, and what it's meant to do is misdirect, buy time, allow the United States to put its pieces in place, and then launch hostility when it suits the United States. And often, the conditions that a lot of countries, Russia, Iran, the conditions the U.S. expects them to agree to, but thankfully that they haven't. It's meant to tie the hands of these nations the U.S. is targeting. So the U.S. is not looking for a way out of this. They're looking for the best possible position to place themselves in before hostilities continue. And then it's only a matter of how those hostilities take shape.
Yeah, well, a source close to the parliamentary leader in Iran says that the United States and Israeli forces have concentrated to their greatest degree yet around Iran, and that there's a warning that the U.S. will launch an intensive surprise attack, and this is what they believe will happen, that these strategic bombers, the B-2 bombers, and aircraft carriers will start targeting energy facilities, but that Iran is ready to respond immediately and with excessive force. So it almost sounds like, Brian, that we are going to go back maybe to where we were prior to this ceasefire, and that it might be even more catastrophic than that period, which I think that period of time shocked the world, that 5 or so weeks when both the United States and Israel and Iran were trading attacks, and of course the impact on the economy and on the world was huge and still yet to be felt. So what's your reaction to this?
Again, there's this misconception that the United States is deeply concerned about its Persian Gulf Arab allies or even Israel, that they desperately want the Strait of Hormuz open, and that somehow the cutting of energy flowing from the entire region, somehow this is to the detriment of the United States. But I I warned before the war was even started, or at least this part of the U.S. war of aggression against Iran. The whole point of this is to shut off energy coming from the region, especially to China. But
Okay, so he's on the whole China thing. Everything is fine. They're waiting. They're not over here destroying each other right now. So, pretty uneventful little talk, strategy, you know. But they're talking as if there's not a war going on over there right now. And I mean, what is this? 3 hours ago, Iran launches repeated attacks on U.S. military what bases, what military bases, U.S. near breaking point. Look at that. So, what about that? That's only 3 hours ago. Let's take a look at that. How many commercials do we have to endure?
Israel's air and missile defense is effectively collapsed. They can't knock down most of what's hitting them right now. But more
right now, see, there's a war going on over there. They have not stopped firing missiles, and the point I'm making is the U.S. media has got a whole hush on the fact that there is a whole war. The U.S. is over there bombing, getting ready to launch a major attack, right? The war is ongoing right now. They're waiting for logistics to get there before they launch this major attack. So what do you think? Everybody's just sitting there waiting? No, they're over there bombing and strafing each other right now. Everybody in the region. Israel. Ain't no ceasefire. They threw that out there. Everybody is operating under the assumption that there's nothing in place. They're bombing each other. Look at this. 9 hours ago, Iran fires 400 Hwasongs, ICBMs. There's carriers in the region. So there's a war going on. And Babylonians don't know that. They're moving as though everything is normal.
Important. The missiles they're using now, they can fire 10 missiles instead of 100 missiles and do more damage because the payloads are thousands of pounds of...
They're launching. They're over there launching thousands of pounds of missiles right now.
Explosive, and they are accurate, and they can't be stopped. So you don't have to fire 50 or 100 missiles to achieve your aims. And this eludes people. The second part is that large numbers of the missiles and underground facilities are in eastern Iran. They haven't been touched. They haven't been subjected to any sort of attack at all. So I was listening yesterday evening to some of the people that appear on Fox News. I don't usually listen to Fox very much, but I was warned that Senator Cotton and Senator Hawley would both be on there. And shockingly, they began to talk about, well, it's time for us to declare victory. We've done all we can, and it's time to just declare victory and bring home the men.
In lockstep with, there's no real war going on. There's no real war going on over there. We can just leave. No, there's a whole war. America's acting like they don't see the fact that they're in the middle of a war. Right? We'll block the blockade and, we're having talks right now and we're firing missiles. No, there's a war going on. During the peace talks, they're firing missiles. Sounds like a war.
Okay, fine. What I'm hearing here in Washington from people that I know that are on the inside, as well as now it's been verified through Fox News, which is kind of a mouthpiece for the administration, Donald Trump wants to get out of this. He's finally figured out there's nothing to win. We can drop bombs and shoot missiles at these people all that we like. It's not going to change the condition of the region. It's not going to improve anything. Worst of all, it's going to send the world into an economic recession, maybe depression. And he's got all sorts of people telling him, listen, boss, you've got to stop this and stop it soon Because if you don't, we're going to be in a state of poverty along with the rest of the world. The rest of the world is already headed down the tubes. If you go to Europe, the prices of gas are 3-4 times what they were. In Asia, it's apoplectic. Southeast Asia, it doesn't matter where you go, Southwest Asia, the situation is dire from a purely financial economic standpoint. And we don't exactly have a very strong financial position given our national sovereign debt. And we seem to be debasing our currency at the moment. So,
and he can go on and he can go on. Woe be unto thee, Babylon. Woe be unto thee, Asia. Is that in 16? Slovakia. Off the top? I'm not sure. If it is, I'll read it. If not, yep, right here. Second Ezra 16 and 1. Woe be unto thee, Babylon, and Asia. Just covered that. Woe be unto thee, Egypt and Syria. All right. Which Babylon? Which Egypt? Spiritual Egypt? Which Asia? Moab and Ammon? Okay. Definitely Babylon the Great. Okay. Definitely spiritual Egypt. Jump down here real quick. In the wars is all I want. In the wars, yeah. The World War III ain't no peace and safety. Okay. It's just a little lull in the action while we restock the torpedo tubes. Okay, we're out of torpedoes. We're out of iron domes. Second Ezra 16:34. In the wars shall their bridegrooms be destroyed, and their husbands shall perish of famine. Right. Let's read 33. The virgins shall mourn having no bridegrooms, the women shall mourn having no husbands, their daughters shall mourn having no helpers. In the wars shall their bridegrooms be destroyed. Why are their virgins mourning? In the wars? Their bridegrooms died. Right? They were destroyed and perished of famine. All right? In the wars. Which wars? These wars.
the whole idea that really underpins the American economy, Daryl, is the petrodollar. And the petrodollar, very simply, is we buy your oil. You live in the Arabian Peninsula. We buy your oil. The dollars that you get from us, you reinvest in
your oil. Why did Japan attack Pearl Harbor? Your oil.
treasuries. And by reinvesting it in our treasuries, we're able to continue an economic expansion. Well, that's over. It's done.
Yeah.
And how rich are we going to remain without the petrodollar? And I think the answer to that is not terribly good.
What happened to Japan after Pearl Harbor about that oil?
So I think we've effectively lost this war. I think the Iranians know it. And they are now saying that they've had feelers from us, which I'm sure is probably true behind the scenes. We would like a ceasefire.
With that, are they going to get a ceasefire? Let's figure it out. It's the regular ending, folks. Revelation 11:14. In any version, BSB. The second woe has passed. Behold, the third woe is coming shortly. No pull out. We need a way out of this war. No, your way out is through World War III. With that, we pray that the elector edifies your brothers and sisters.